Welcome to this week's rant entitled, Do You Really Understand What eBay is Charging You? Because I can be honest and say I didn't. And we'll come on to that in a minute. And for those of you who are astute, this is what's been sitting under the red cover for the last couple of months, and I didn't really want to reveal that it had arrived because I didn't know whether it was going to be kept or not, for various reasons I'm not going to go into at the moment. But shall we say I ordered this a while ago. It's turned up, and I love it so much that somebody's allowed me. That's wrong, it doesn't sound right. Allowed me, that's not. Somebody has lent me the money to allow me to keep the keyboard, because I wasn't sure whether I was going to keep it or not. That's why I didn't announce it on the channel. But this is what's been sitting under the red cover. It is a Jupiter-X, and what you were listening to as you came onto this video was one of the arpeggiators that this machine has, which is the arpeggiation on this machine is actually quite interesting. And I will do some videos about it. I honestly will do some videos about it now that I know I'm keeping it. And I'm going to invest the time and learn in this, along with the S2400, which is sitting off shot just over here at the moment. So, why is this video entitled, Do You Know What eBay is Charging? I'll tell you why. For the last couple of months, I've been trying to work out whether I've been charging the right amount of money on the discs that are going through the media replacement service. Now, as you guys know, the discs that go through the media replacement service are designed not to make a profit. It's nice to put a little bit more money in the channel coffers to support the ongoing maintenance and running costs of the channel, but it's not really designed to make a profit. That's the whole point of it. But on the flip side, it's not designed to make a loss either. And I've been struggling to get to grips with the whole eBay charging mechanism. And so I found a feature in the eBay selling area that allowed me to switch on detailed invoices, which is something I've never had from eBay before. Normally you get a number, you've sold something and here's a number, and there was no correlation how that number was actually generated. So I'm going to go into some of the things that are hidden on the eBay platform that you have to kind of take into account if you're thinking of selling a musical instrument. So this is the part of the video where I do the channel self-promotion. Feel free to whiz past this, but it's quite important I promote the channel because that's how the channel earns a little bit of money to cover the running costs. So, if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you like videos about this stuff that's sitting around me, hit the subscribe icon. If you want to be notified when the channel publishes videos, save yourself some time, hit the bell icon at the same time. That lets you know when videos hit the channel. If you like the contents of this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps. And I encourage you guys to leave comments down below. I do read them, I do respond to them, and sometimes, videos even get made about that subject. There's some interesting conversations going on various threads at the moment. Down there somewhere is the important bit. That's the TMTG Community. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you can support the production of videos on the channel, keep it rocking and rolling. And finally, down there, Instagram, Facebook feeds, go over to Instagram, subscribe over there, follow me, because that's where the channel notices will appear. Now, back to this video. Do you know what? One of the best things, so obviously people sponsor the channel on Patreon, and I'm very grateful for those people who sponsor the channel on Patreon because it's allowed me to buy some little bits and bobs that the channel that's really helped in the production of videos. And one of them is this thing. I think I've said this before. Thank you so much. This is such a godsend for doing this sort of work, because it means I don't have to keep getting up to switch the camera off between takes. So thank you very much, Patreons. I really do appreciate the support you give to the channel, and that is one of the things you've helped by. It might not seem a lot, but in terms of efficiency, workflow and time saving, that is massive. Another thing that you've helped with, which I can't show you, is the mic that's sitting on top of the camera. So thank you very much. I really do appreciate the channel support. And on channel support, I should have said a couple of weeks ago on one of the rants that we went through 2,300 subscribers. And I'm always humbled that people subscribe to the channel and follow the channel and interact with the channel. I find that whole sequence is what this channel is all about. It's all about this community, the interaction, people not being afraid to air their views, and people not having a go because they have aired their views. So thank you very much for the continued support on that side. Let's march on to 2,500 subscribers. I never even dreamed when I started this channel that I would have 2,300 subscribers, let alone 25. The goal is to try and get up to 10,000 subscribers, but it's not going to happen quickly. I probably will be about 4,000 subscribers if we carry on the current trajectory by the end of the year. That will be absolutely fantastic. Anyway, back to the substance of this video. And the reason why I call this out is, if you are like me actively selling and buying on eBay, and I have to be honest and say I've really curbed what I'm buying on eBay since Christmas, purely because of my cash flow situation. And you know, I was completely wiped out before Christmas. I really do. And when I say that quite a few times, but I was completely wiped out before Christmas, in order to settle and get my ex out of my hair. I went completely out on a limb to just settle the whole thing and make sure that she was completely paid off. Because I just didn't want that hanging over my head. Anyway, that's aside. Where we are now is I'm obviously selling and buying, and I sell a couple of things. I've got a couple of things that are active, well, a few things that are actively on eBay being sold. If you look below this video in the comments section, you will see, or in the video description section, you will see the link to the disc library. So that will take you over to eBay, and there you will see all the discs that are currently listed for sale, and they include T1 discs, S50 discs, SY85 discs, S330 discs, Korg Oasis CDs, because a lot of people have been writing to me saying they can't get hold of the operating system update and the engines updates, which I do have. And I thought to myself, well, if you can't get hold of them from where, you know, the official site, then you know what, if you've got an Oasis, I'm going to make them available. So I've done that, and we'll see if people want them. I've got one guy who's asking me if I'll send him ISO images. I'm normally against sending ISO images, I have to be honest, but given where the guy is located, it might be the only way I can get them to him this side of Christmas. So I am selling stuff over there, and as I've said before, the media replacement service is not about making a profit. It's about making a little bit of money that will keep the channel running. It will pay for the sort of the internet fees that have to be paid for various bits and bobs. It will pay for little upgrades that have to be done as we go forward. But the interesting thing is, I've not been able to actually understand the fee structure with eBay. And it's about as opaque as it comes. And I'm sure if I went through all the fine print, I could understand how the fee structure works. But in general terms, there is a fee when you list and a fee when you sell. And if you're savvy, you will make sure that you tick all the options when you sell. That means you get 0 listing fees. Is that detrimental to you? No, not really. It's only if you're trying to really you're trying to sell something and you're trying to advertise it, you're trying to get it in front of people when they log onto eBay and start searching for things like what you're trying to sell. At that point, you may want to consider sort of promoting your listing and paying the extra few dollars here and few dollars there as listing fees. Generally, I don't. Okay, for the stuff that I'm looking for, if somebody goes looking for a T1, they will find the discs for the T1 there, and then they can make the decision to buy them or not. So I tend not to have listing fees, which is great. Fair enough. I don't have listing fees. It cuts down the costs, because at the end of the day, any fees I incur on selling this stuff, unfortunately, I have to pass on to the customer, which means the product becomes more expensive. But on the other side of it, when you actually make a sale, you then get a bunch of other fees that apply. And that's the bit that's been quite opaque. It's not clear how that is calculated. So what I managed to do, as I said, I managed to switch on the detailed invoice option within eBay. And once that happened, I then, for last month, at the middle of this month, well, actually a couple of days ago to be honest, I got a detailed invoice, and I've got it sitting in front of me here. I'm not going to hold it up to the camera because it's a bit pointless. But this is the type of thing that you get hit with on eBay when you sell something. So this is the final selling fee. So the first thing eBay do is they hit you with a standard fee for selling. And that fee is pretty much standard at 25 pence. Okay, but that has to have VAT on top of it, so it becomes 30 pence. So before you start, you've got a 30 pence fee. Then what they do is they then hit you with a fee based on value. And the value is not what you sell it for. Okay? The value is what you sell it for plus the P&P. And I've said this before on the channel, that eBay have got wise to a number of vendors who used to sell product for virtually nothing and charge you £100 postage. And the reason they did that was because eBay used to charge you for the fee on the product value, not for the postage. So they would basically get £100, of which it cost them about £5 to post it, and the rest of it is effectively their profit, and they don't get charged any fees on it. Anyway, eBay got wise to that. So now what they do is they charge you a percentage on the sales value. So that can be the buy it now value, the auction bid, highest bid value, or a best and final offer value. So whatever way you list the product, they will charge you that, plus whatever is the calculated postage value to get your product to your customer. So obviously that can vary. But looking at this, what they tend to do here, and I was looking at this earlier on, is the final value works out to be roughly about 12.8%, okay, including VAT. So whatever you've sold it for, and let's use the argument that you've sold it for £90, it's going to cost you £10 to ship it. So it's actually cost you £100. Okay, of that £100, £12.80 is eBay's charges, and that seems quite high in monetary value in terms of what it is it's cost you. So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to look at this and say, well, if they're going to charge me 12.8% on the cost of the product and the shipping, then I've got to be selling the product for about 113 something, 114 something. That's what I've got to be selling the product for. Okay, so the combined postage and product value has to be worth 114, not £100 to build in eBay's fees. So that's the second fee they charge you. So you've got a fixed fee, which is normally about, I'm working this out, that the fixed fee is about 30 pence, which is not. Final value fee, 12.8% of your total sales value. And then the other thing they clobber you with, and I'll read this directly off here, and it says charge because the delivery address is in Germany. So if you want to sell something overseas, they then clobber you with another charge. And that is quite wide, well, I say it's quite wide ranging. It ranges between 0.6 and 0.7%. So it doesn't work out a lot in monetary value. In fact, actually, I'm looking at this. But that's still, on £100, that's another 60 or 70 pence that you're going to incur just because you've sold to somebody who is international. Now, whether eBay are charging you that because they are doing the currency transaction for you, that is less than opaque. But I've noticed that this fee applies to every single sale I've made to somebody who is overseas. There is, but they call it different things on different lines, so it doesn't seem to be called the same thing. So one is because the delivery address is in Germany, and then I've got another one that says additional fee for international transaction, and then I've got another one that says overseas transaction. So there's seems to be three different wordings, but it seems to be around about the same percentage of the value, which is sort of kind of, I don't know, 2.1, 2.2%. Seems to be the number that they're charging. So there's three fees that are completely opaque when you're trying to sell stuff on eBay that all of a sudden you get hit with. Now, I've always allowed 10% for fees in my eBay pricing structure, purely because it kind of what looked like it was working out to 10%. But as I said, recently I've been trying to work out how the fees actually stack up, and it looks like I'm kind of making 5% loss on everything that's been going out on the media sales. And I'm going to have to revise the price of the goods to cover that. And I do apologise for that, but at one point it's designed to make a little bit of money. It's not designed to make a loss. I'm not suffering the pocket. So I apologise now if you see the prices for some of the stuff on the media replacement service going up. I do apologise. It's not my doing. It really is the cost of getting the stuff to you and eBay's fees. So they are fees that eBay don't make abundantly obvious. When you're listing the item, eBay make those fees quite obvious to you, because every time you click an option, it tells you you're adding on 20 pence or 10 pence or 30 pence or £1.50 or whatever it happens to be. So you know that clicking and unclicking options when you're listing the items, you know what those fees are going to be. But when you sell the item, that's when you have another bunch of opaque fees that you aren't really sure about. So that's what they are. And hopefully that explains eBay's selling fees. And I thought it was important to do this this morning because, you know, I know that a lot of you guys are buying stuff and selling stuff on eBay. And if you don't understand how eBay is charging you for that stuff, then where you think you're actually selling something and making a reasonable profit, all of a sudden along comes eBay and takes a massive chunk of your charges and massive chunks of your sales value, including excuse me, the postage. And that's the bit most people forget. Most people are working on, what do I want for this? Do I want £10 for this? And if it then costs you £10 to get it somewhere, eBay are charging you fees on £20, not £10. And the other thing to bear in mind if you are selling stuff on eBay, and this is the another sort of golden cardinal rule with this stuff is when it talks about postage, it's not the cost to put it in the post and send it. Okay? What you should be doing is when you're calculating the postage, you need to work out how much does it cost to send something. I'm just moving off camera so I can grab something. So, for example, with a media replacement service, okay, I send all the discs in these, right? These are diskette mailers, right? Might not seem a lot, but they're sort of a rigid card. They have a stick down piece at the top there and a tear off strip that is with this bit here, so that when somebody gets it they can just tear it open. It also means that people can't open this in transit. But that, okay, so that's one of the costs in terms of selling. They cost 10 pence a pop. Actually, I think they cost more than 10 pence a pop, actually. I don't think that's right. But there's a cost to those, right? So that should be included in your postage cost. How much does it cost to, you know, buy the box, buy the tape you seal the box up with, just sat on the key, buy anything else that you need to create the package. So if you need to put your equipment in bubble wrap, the cost of the bubble wrap. Okay, and people just forget about these unseen costs when they're selling on eBay. The cost of postage is not the cost of postage. The cost of postage that you include is the cost to package those goods up in a suitable way that they can then be sent to the other side. So that is the cost of the postage, whether it be courier, raw mail, whatever it happens to be, the cost of the packing materials, the cost of the packing, and anything else. Right, so you need to wrap that up in your costs as well. Another just important thing about doing transactions on eBay is people are not maximising their profit because they're not thinking about how much does it cost to get things from A to B and what's involved in making sure they get from A to B securely. So that was that. And then the other thing that sort of kind of sprung to mind is sort of when you're doing eBay transactions is don't underestimate the cost of international postage. Okay, so that again sounds a bit daft, but you know, if I were to send things within the UK, I can send a disc within the UK, tracked and signed for about £3.50. Okay, that's how much it costs. If I'm to send the same disc to somebody in Germany, okay, that charge goes up to about £7.50. Okay, so don't underestimate how much it costs to send things internationally. Now, in the UK, we have a couple of services that allow you to do that. And in actual fact, the interesting thing about it, if I was to say this, is the more you buy, the cheaper it gets. So if you want one disc from the media replacement service, for argument's sake, it costs, as I say, about £7.50 to send it into Europe. It actually costs about £8.50 to send it to the USA. I've not quite worked that out yet, so it cost me £7.50 to send it to Europe and £8.50 to send it to the USA. But that's kind of the costs. If I were to send 10 discs to Europe, okay, that will cost me about 10 quid and about £11 to the USA. I think they're the numbers. Don't misquote me, but if I were to send 20 discs, it still cost me £10 to send it to Europe. So the more discs you buy, the cheaper it becomes in terms of postage, and that's purely because as the boxes get slightly bigger, they don't charge you as much for the additional increase in box size. And I sent some discs a little while back I sent 100 discs, I think it was, to somebody in the US, and in totality that cost me £16.70. So that gives you an idea of the more discs you send, the cheaper it gets. Anyway, I thought it was worth doing this. It has been a bit of a ramble and a rant, and there you go. That was eBay fees. Live long and prosper. Bye bye. Cheers.